Across the Treasure Coast, showers and storms return each afternoon and early evening. We're going to make up some of those rainfall deficits that we're seeing here and there. Good for the lawns and gardens. Temperatures during the day in the low 90s. Lots of morning and early afternoon sunshine, but rains and a few rumbles of thunder by this afternoon. I'm WPTV First Alert Chief Meteorologist Steve Weagle for WSTU 1450, Martin County's Heritage Station.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jensen Beach, Hope Sound, Martin County's Heritage Station.
The opinions expressed are those of the show's host and not the staff or management of Port St. Lucie Broadcasters. Any reproduction without written consent of WSTU and WPSL is strictly prohibited. Now it's time for Quality of Life Radio, brought to you by Cigna and Aetna Medicare. Here are your hosts, Gary Owen and Tom Bouvier.
Hello and good morning, Treasure Coast and around the world. 47 countries, you're tuning in this morning to the world-famous Quality of Life radio show. Today's Tuesday, August 16th, and I am your extraordinary host, Gary Owen.
And I'm your exceptional host, Tom Bouvier.
Exceptional, extraordinary, we are making it happen. We're going to have a lot of adjectives on today's show. And hopefully you're tuning in if you're driving on WSTU 1450 AM and WPSL 1590 AM. If you happen to be exiting your vehicle for whatever purposes and you want to carry on listening to us, you would catch us on Facebook. You know that little FB logo you have on your phone, tap that, follow us, like us at the Quality of Life radio show. And Tom, would you explain why in the heck we've been doing this for 2 years every single Tuesday morning?
Man, we love Evan, we love Iggy, we love WSTU radio station, but most importantly, we actually bring relevant content to our listeners every Tuesday morning. That's information you can really use in your life, can change your life, perhaps even save your life. Number two, we love to support and showcase local business owners and representatives and nonprofit organizations. And we have a great business owner in our office, in our studio here today who will be introduced. Can't wait for that. And last of all, Gary, you and I, we love to educate and bring information about insurance planning, a lot of different options that can help improve people's quality of life.
And speaking of quality of life this morning, later on in the show, on the second part of our show, we're going to be talking about the impact that IRA has on every single one of us. I'm not talking about an individual retirement account. I'm not talking about the Irish Republican Army. I am talking about the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. So stay tuned for that. It's going to affect every single one of us. So stay tuned for that. It's exciting news, depending on what side of the fence you are on politically. But to me, it's not a political situation. Unfortunately, when it comes to our health and our quality of life, politics get in the way. But I'm glad to see that we plowed through this one. So stay tuned for that. And also, we're going to share with you 8 fun facts about palm trees. We know our guest in the studio loves palm trees. He lies under the shade of the palm tree quite frequently. So we're excited to share that information with you. And then also we're going to share with you some cool things about a health fact, and then also what happened this day in history on August 16. So stay tuned for all of that. So we'll go right into introductions of a great friend of mine, great business owner, great philanthropist, and overall a great guy, man. I'll tell you, this guy is amazing. I aspire to be like him one day when I grow up. But it's my honor and privilege to introduce to you Bob Thornton of O'Donnell Window Indoors. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm pleased to be here. I'm looking for the guest that you were talking about. I'd really like to meet him. He sounds like a heck of a guy.
Well, let me grab out our two-way mirror. We'd be happy to do that. Bob, share with our listening audience and those that are watching live on Facebook a little bit about you. Where you're from, what's going on in your life, what's been happening in your life. Tell us a little bit about your military experience, everything. Inquiry minds want to know.
All right, that's a lot. It's a long story. I've been on the planet a long time. From Connecticut originally. I was born in St. Vincent's Hospital in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and grew up in Trumbull. And it was very unusual. We were the only poor family in Trumbull, Connecticut. They eventually made us leave because we didn't have the money to stay. And we resettled. We moved up to Cape Cod, Massachusetts. And I had the privilege of getting in trouble as a teenager and decided to go into the military. Seemed like a logical choice. And they put me in there and they said, oh, here's an adrenaline junkie. We're going to put you in the 101st Airborne. And it was a perfect fit for me. I learned to keep my mouth shut. I learned to finish what I'm supposed to do, not throw hands and feet just because I was good at it. And it's a discipline that stayed with me my whole life. And I really think a lot of being an entrepreneur came from that discipline in the military. And Gary, I know you served as well. I'm not sure about you, Tom. No. But Gary, I know you've had a very similar background and experience with it.
Well, I wasn't active duty, but I did serve with the U.S. Air Force Auxiliary as a search and rescue mission pilot, so I'm glad for that experience. But see, the difference between you and me, Bob, I don't jump out of a perfectly good airplane.
he flies.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
I go down with the ship.
We heard that from every pilot. What is wrong with you people?
No, all right.
But when I got out, I went into construction, into a flooring business, and I ended up buying it, building it. That grew into real estate. That grew into going into the stock market. I worked for UBS with a very successful career. And I came down to Florida in 2005. I was tired of moving piles of money from place to place. I didn't have the same satisfaction as stepping back and going, I built that wall. And I got back into construction and O'Donnell Impact Windows and Storm Protection. And we are now the largest guys on the Treasure Coast.
Well, let me say this. You may or may not be the largest guys. You probably are the largest guys. But in my opinion, you are the best on the Treasure Coast.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't matter the size. I mean, people say size matters. Well, listen, I believe really it's the quality, the workmanship, the professionalism. You guys show up when you say you're going to. I speak from experience because I'm a client. You show up when you show up. They do their job. They do it professionally. And I tell you what, I can't see you having any competition.
Well, I appreciate that, and we have worked for both of you, and I would like to take credit, but I have the least amount to do with the success of the company. I have an incredible team around me. Every person that you come in contact with actually works for O'Donnell, and they take great pride in it. And we've been able to do so much in the community, and I tell them all, because of your efforts, it allows me to be out and have that philanthropy arm that is so vitally important, because we are a community. This is where we live, and we need to take care of one another, and especially right now with all the shenanigans going on.
I can't wait to be there. You know, I have talked about this many times where I feel like I'm a slave in my little office, right? So I can't wait to get there, to be out there like you're doing and letting the office run its own self, of course. But you got years ahead of me, so I've got a few more years to catch up and hopefully be there with you and alongside of you doing the same thing, because you contribute a lot to this community.
Well, I appreciate that. And watching what you guys are doing, you are going to be there. It's inevitable. You know, as long as you have to see it first, and then the universe will bring it to you. As long as you put the time and the effort, and you absolutely do.
Yeah. It's great that we just had our 5-year anniversary combined with our client appreciation dinner. It was no small feat to put that together, but it was a great time, and a lot of people showed up. Thank you for your support as well. And so we
won a few gifts.
Yes. But if you noticed, I gave them away at the table.
Yes. See, that's what happens. The man is a giver, and it just keeps coming back to him.
It's awesome stuff. Yeah. But that was great. And you mentioned that you were in the flooring business.
Yes.
So was I. Did that for about 15 years before getting into the insurance business. So, and then when my dad retired from the sheriff's department, when he turned 64, I believe it was, then I hired him to work with me for about 5 years. So that was good. We you know, prior to that time, we had a shaky relationship, but those 5 years working together with my dad brought us so close together. It was a great experience. So, what do you think, Bob, that contributes to your success at O'Donnell?
I believe it's how I start my day every day. I did 4 miles on the beach this morning. I have a whole mantra that I go through. I rise to make a difference, and I just treat everyone the exact same way I want to be treated.
That's right.
And if it's good for you, I'm going to explain why it's good for you. And if it's not good for you, if there's a better alternative that has nothing to do with O'Donnell, we're going to share that with you. And there's nothing better than helping someone out that goes out and says, these guys could have sold me impact windows. We didn't know we had impact windows. And that in turn brings in more business than you can imagine. I actually sold a house, a condominium, in the early days with my partner, Mike. I sold the house. She was up in Connecticut. And Mike called me. He does the final measure because you don't want me doing your final measure. So he calls me up and he says, so you're that guy. And I said, what do you mean I'm that guy? And he goes, you're such a good salesman. You can sell a whole unit full of impact windows to somebody who already has impact windows. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, where are you? I happen to be in the neighborhood. So I drove down there and he explained to me, did you wrap on the glass? Well, I was pretty new at windows, and I didn't. And as soon as you wrap on the glass, you can tell it's impact glass. So he says, well, now what are we going to do? I said, I'll show you. And I called the woman up, and I said, listen, I'm an idiot. I'm at your condo. My partner Mike's here. These windows are all impact. I'm sorry I didn't notice. We're going to send your check back. And she said, oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. I said, I'm really sorry. She goes, no. I can't believe it. You're the first honest contractor I've ever dealt with. Do you know that woman had us in that condo month after month after month? If you were swimming in the pool or if you were moving in, she was telling you about how we were honest with. So that's really, it's not a secret. And you have to out-hustle everyone. You have to outwork them. And, I know if I'm up on January 1 and I'm working, I'm the only window guy that's working on January 1. I want that head start.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, because it's kind of, Tom and I, we have that same sentiment, and we
Absolutely
do the same thing. We say the same thing, and being transparent and being honest separates you from so many other people because everybody's out there for their own selfish reasons, unfortunately. And no matter what industry it is, whether it's a construction industry or construction trade or the insurance industry, they're all out there. So I think that, folks like us, we have to be the beacon and the light. We're the lighthouse on the hillside. So that's important to me. That's what I'm passionate about. And I know you're passionate about the same thing and helping people. And we do it all the time. I mean, there have been times clients have been in our office, and as much as we want their business, Bob, you know what? You're on the right plan. Don't let anybody talk you out of this plan. And, they appreciate that. And they want to find ways to do business. And I said, listen, the best way to repay is just tell people who we are and what we do. That's all. That's the best we can do. And that's
it's called a fiduciary responsibility.
Right.
I mean, I know in the financial world, you probably understood that working in stocks,
did.
But doing that in your window impact business, doing that in our insurance, people do appreciate that. They do love that, and they will give you good press.
Well,
you can't pay for that advertising.
No,
not at all.
No, I'd like to put a plug in for you guys with my buddy Rich, if that's okay.
Sure.
So one of my salesmen a couple of years ago, he was at the North showroom, and he grabbed onto the counter, and he said, I'm having a heart attack. And now he was a hockey player his whole life, very fit, and his wife happened to be with him. So he said, don't call ambulance. She can drive me to the hospital. I'll be there before an ambulance gets here. Well, long story short, he ended up getting a stent. He had the Widowmaker valve, which was 98% blocked. They said he was pretty much going to die. And they put the stent in, and he was okay. Usually I hear people when they have that happen, they say, geez, I feel like a new man. He was just okay. After about a year, he came to me and he said, Bob, something's wrong. I know my body, something's wrong. And I don't have any insurance. And I can't get insurance. I said, go see my friend Gary over at Owens Insurance. And lo and behold, he got a hold of Gary. Gary got him into a plan. 3 weeks later, he went down to
Jupiter
Medical.
Center,
Jupiter Medical. They realized that the stent was put in wrong. Doctor said he probably had another 2 or 3 weeks and he would have dropped dead.
Yep.
So really, you not only did you change the game, you saved the guy's life. He had a little 4 or 5 year old girl at home, his young bride, and it made all the difference in the world. That's integrity. That's doing the right thing.
That's awesome. And when he came out of the hospital and he stopped, it was awesome for him to stop by and thank me. I mean, that we did the right thing. So that's what we do. But we're going to go on a quick break. Before we go on a break, though, I just want to give a quick shout out to Danielle, who may be listening in this morning from Port St. Lucie. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. You're listening to the Quality of Life radio show on WSTU 1450 AM and WPSL 1590. Guess what? Don't touch that dial because I'm threatening you. We're going to be right back.
This is Gary Owen of the Owen Insurance Group. We are a local independent insurance agency located right here on the Treasure Coast. I've been a resident here for 34 years and have helped thousands of clients with their insurance planning needs. We specialize in life, health, and Medicare insurance planning. Don't travel the road alone. Let us be your guide. We are the Owen Insurance Group. Contact us today at 772-210-1020 or visit our website at oweninsurancegroup.net.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jensen Beach, Hope Sound, Martin County's Heritage Station.
All right, lovely people. Thank you for, lovely people. That means you, not you. Everyone who's watching. No, but you're lovely, though. You're lovely in your own way, Evan. Lovely in your own way. So we are very blessed to have a very special guest, Bob Thornton with O'Donnell Impact Windows and Doors. He's here in Stewart. In fact, you're located almost adjacent to us across US 1. You're just a little further north, maybe an eighth of a mile
at most.
At most. So Bob did his business, his company installed my impact glass in my home, and Tom also as well. And I think you're probably driving up and down my street, we saw your trucks in many other homes, so we know you're everywhere. And that speaks volumes about your business and what you do and who you are and what you stand for, and that's awesome. So talk to us now, pre-pandemic versus post-pandemic, where you're at with the business. Are you still backlogged? I know when I signed my contract with you, it was like 6 to 8 months wait time to get the material. Where are we at now with that?
Well, pre-pandemic, the only fault in our stars was our wait time, our lead time. And it was the only thing that competitors could use against us. They could say, well, we're not O'Donnell, but we could be there in half the time. We had more people come up and say, we wished we'd have waited. So going into the pandemic, we had 6 months worth of product in our warehouses, which turned out, what was our bane turned out to be our blessing, because I went to Sheriff Snyder when things were just starting to amp up and the media circus was beginning. I'd never seen anything like it, but I knew it was going to get ugly. And I got a hold of Sheriff Snyder and I said, as far as I'm concerned, we're first responders. Every house we protect is a house you won't have to rescue. He said, Bob, I 100% agree. So I went out on the tarmac with all of our kids, all of our installers. None of them are my children, but I call them all my kids, even if they're older than me. But I went out and I said, listen, I don't know what's going on. If you're scared and you want to stay home, you'll have a job when you get back. But if you need to work, I will do everything in my power to make sure you bring a paycheck home every Friday. And we did. We went through that. We didn't lose anyone. We actually picked up guys from other companies because the factory shut down. They couldn't get product. We had product to install. Now, post-pandemic, we're still 8-9 months out. Wow. It's no matter how many crews we have on the road, it's not enough. We won't sub our work out. We have to train the guys a certain way. You have to work your way to being. Every crew has a crew chief, every crew chief has a project manager. That way, we've got a couple different people policing the whole install to make sure it's done properly. And the other big thing for us, and what's really carried us, has been our service. Instead of going to our manufacturer and saying, well, it's a manufacturing problem, we inherit it. Because you hired me, you expect me to take care of it. You hired me, you expect me to. I can't push it off because the manufacturer's service is not the quality of our service. And that's really helped out. And post-pandemic, I feel like, believe it or not, people are more patient. They're used to waiting for everything now.
Now they are. They understand.
So prior to, they were like, well, can't you hire enough people? Now it's like, we get it. Be here when you can be here. And once we're done, our goal is always the same. Our employees work together with our customers to give them the best experience that they can have. So when it's all done and we walk away, you have a smile on your face and you send the universe to us to work.
It's great to have that impact. I don't have to worry about shutters, putting up shutters, especially having a 2-story home. I mean, come on. I can't
and
do
you
that.
have some precarious glass.
Big time. Yeah, big time. So we love it. I think the only thing we got to do now is we got to figure out the front door and the sight lights. I think that's the only last item that's left that we need to protect for impact.
You could always throw an accordion shutter over it.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
It's inexpensive, solve, easy to close, and we build our own shutters as well.
Yeah, so that's something that Kathy and I were talking about and doing that. So now, what separates O'Donnell from all your competitors? We know we talked about that, but the service, we know that because there are competitors from Palm Beach and Miami and Broward hitting our area hard, and they're knocking on doors and trying to get the business. And I would agree with you that waiting is important because I'm glad that I used you guys instead of your competitors. But is there anything else that you can say to those that are watching and those that are listening? Why is it really worth the 8-month wait?
Because you're dealing with local. And what I tell people is we have 2 showrooms right on US 1 with 1740 Northwest Federal Highway, 6400 Southeast Federal Highway, across from Duffy's on the Hobe Sound line. And I tell people, I'm not going to have you out there with a sign that says, I hate O'Donnell, see me first. Not on my watch, not on Mike's watch, not on any of our guys' watch. They really do. They take pride in what they do. You hire somebody from Broward when you have a problem, you think they're driving up from Broward to do your fix?
Heck no.
No. Where I'm not going to have you out in front of my place with a sign. And I like being such a presence in the community. I'm involved with all 5 chambers of commerce. I do a lot of speaking. I don't want to be somewhere and have somebody in the audience yelling out, he's full of it, don't believe him.
Right.
And so that really is what differentiates us. And your dollars are staying in this community, and if you look at what we do, we sponsor so many events, things that are really important, things that it's not for business, like the Hobe Sound Christmas Parade. It's like Mayberry RFD. It's the greatest time, and there's thousands of people there, and just being there and being able to provide that for family. There's families for 35 years. The kids come back to go to that parade with their kids, and I don't know. It's just
it's awesome.
It's nice to be part of a community.
It is. And I always say it. I've said this from day one, man. Do business with a local business. I mean, that's important. Keeping those dollars local with your neighbors and supporting each other's businesses. You can't put a price tag on that. No. That's really important.
No, knowing that I can walk in behind Key West Diner into Owens Insurance when I have a question, instead of playing phone tag with 1 million people and you're never getting the same person. That's service. That's that's priceless. It really is.
We love it. We love it. How do they get a hold of you, Bob? If they want to find out more about your company, where do they go and who do they call?
Well, you can go online, o'donnellstormprotection.com. You can call up the main number, 772-408-0200. When you hear my annoying voice, press 1. You'll go right to Miss Jackie. Miss Jackie is in charge of the sales department, and she'll make sure we have very, very qualified sales professionals. They're not salesmen. They're not going to come in and sell you something. We don't have fake sales. We don't do a show and say, buy 3, get 1 free. There's no such thing. We give fair, honest pricing every day, transparent. Every opening is marked out. You know the price for everything, and we can work with people doing piecemeal because not everyone has a magic checkbook. I still haven't found mine.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that those TV commercials are not legit? You're not getting a free window?
Well, it's kind of like J.J. Walker, right?
Oh, my.
He's in the insurance. I watched that the other day, and I said, "This is horrible." Yeah, there's no free lunch.
J.J. Walker, William Shatner, and who? Legendary Hall of Famer
Joe
Namath.
Broadway Joe.
So stick to football. Stick to acting. Get out of the Medicare TV commercial business because I don't think they realize what they're doing and the damage and the misleading commercials that's happening. But we'll maybe get into that in a little bit. Bob, we're gonna in a little bit we're gonna test your knowledge about palm trees.
Oh, I don't have my phone. I can't even cheat.
I know. That's the reason why I'm calling you on the carpet now. So we want to give everyone a quote of the day today. Tom, that's a great quote about wisdom. Would you be so kind?
I'd love to. Wisdom is your perspective on life, your sense of balance, your understanding of how the various parts and principles apply and relate to each other. So use wisdom.
Isn't it amazing? Mm-hmm. Every year that goes by increases our wisdom and the gray hairs.
And the gray hairs.
Lots of gray
Wisdom
hairs.
is better than silver and gold.
Yes.
Go after the wisdom.
Yes, you
and
can't
you'll
put a
get
price
the silver
tag
and
on the
gold.
wisdom. The wisdom will help you get the silver and the gold.
Exactly.
All right, health facts. This is pretty cool, pretty interesting. 5 ways to lower your cholesterol. This is a big one for me. I have a cholesterol issue. But high cholesterol affects 38% of Americans. In case you don't know what cholesterol is, it is a nasty, waxy, fat-like substance that can cause dangerous plaque to form in your blood, leading to a condition known as arteriosclerosis, and is common among people 40s and over. I don't think that affects you, Bob, but the rest of us, we got a problem with it. You'll deal with that one day, probably, for sure. So number one, Tom, since you were making comments about unfiltered coffee, take number one.
Well, sure. Make unfiltered coffee a treat. Everyone knows what unfiltered coffee is, of course. It's coffee made without a filter. Espresso, Turkish, French press coffee can spike your cholesterol. I'm being mocked, by the way, because these 3 drinks are prepared without a filter. It can raise cholesterol 15%. Call OIG at 772-210-1020 to find out what unfiltered coffee is.
Or if you got cholesterol problems, call 911. All right. Number 2, eggs. Eggs are okay, but the butter and the cheese is not. And neither is the bacon and the sausage that lays next to the eggs. But listen, I mean, it's tough. I mean, we love to eat this. I do. I mean, I love butter. I love eggs. I love cheese.
Toast
I love
and
bacon.
The butter and the jams and the jellies. But number 3, lose weight, quit smoking, start exercising, raises good cholesterol, and lowers triglycerides.
Yeah, thank you. A shout out to Teresa Goodrich of Good Fit Performance. She is now coming. Well, she has been coming usually 1 to 2 days a week. Now we have a regimen of 3 days a week that because I have a lower back issue. So she's doing very well with us, with me, and so kudos to Teresa. By the way, if you don't have the time, like I don't, and you're trying to find a way to get into shape where you got some back issues and need workout from someone who knows what they're doing, give Teresa a call. You can call our office at 772-210-1020, and we'll provide you her contact information as well. Number 4 is to eat fewer fried and fatty foods like the muffins, the pancakes, the waffles, the ice cream, the cookies, and red meat. So I guess everyone talks about moderation.
You're crushing my entire diet here.
Well, brother, I'm sitting here cringing reading this stuff.
Last of all, take your cholesterol-lowering medications, different statins exactly as prescribed, or ask the doctor about alternatives to statins because some people cannot take statins. brings joy. It's different outcomes for
Yes.
different people.
Yep. Okay, so there you go about cholesterol. Now, we're going to transition to,
right.
Bob, you probably like this.
Hot seat
So you've been in Florida
time.
since 2005. What was the one thing, maybe the top 3 things that you liked about Florida when you moved in 2005?
The top 3 things I
Yeah,
liked.
what would you like best?
The girls at the beach.
Girls at the Beach is one.
That's
What's number
one.
2?
Is that number 3?
Was that the
That's
Blind
1, 2,
Creek?
and 3.
The sun.
The sun.
Because, being up in New England, you barely get to see the sun.
Correct.
That's why there's a Dunkin' Donuts on every corner to keep them all from killing themselves. And I guess I'd have to say the palm trees.
There you go. Like I
Woo.
thought
I was
palm
hoping he
trees
would
be like
say
number
that.
1, but number 3 is okay. So I would say the Columbia national tree called the Quindlo wax palm is the tallest palm in the world, climbing up to about 200 feet tall.
It's a big tree.
That's a big
20
tree.
stories, like a 20-story
Can you
building.
imagine seeing a tree 20? I mean, my Lord, 20 stories
Only
tall.
out in California.
It's amazing. Oh, yeah.
The big
the
sequoias.
yeah.
Number 2, palm trees have 2 types of leaves. Pinnate leaves, or feathery fronds that grow together side by side in a stem, while palmate leaves grow out like fingers on a hand from the end of the stem.
Is that the ones that attack you and cause you to bleed?
They do.
Yeah, very nice.
I have scars to prove it.
So, Bob, what is the Florida state tree?
Were you listening last week? I think it came up with
It did
John
come up
Snyder.
It did come up last
John Snyder would, of course, know that.
No, he did not.
He didn't?
Actually.
Oh, we
Yeah.
stumped
Is
him a
he-
few.
Yeah, we stumped a couple of them. Yeah, a couple of those.
It's got to be a palm tree, right?
But
Oh,
which
yes.
Oh, which one?
Yes.
A pretty one.
one? Well, there's two.
Pretty. Oh, well, Florida has nothing.
if
ugly.
I don't know it, I'm going to make it up.
Yes, a pretty palm tree.
I don't know that it's that pretty, but it's
A royal palm.
No,
It's
I'm not.
the sable palm.
I'm not much of a fan of
I'm
sable
not
palm.
a fan of sable palm.
I
Royal palm, I am.
I have literally planted probably 200 to 300 palm trees and given them away. I get the seeds. I like Johnny Appleseed, but in the palm tree world. So
I
that's
love
my
the coconut palms. They're beautiful.
And I have quite a few coconut trees that have my name on them
Nice.
as far as being their father. Anyway, palm trees provide food staples like coconuts, acai fruit, dates, betel nuts, and oil.
And palm wine is commonly made in regions of Africa and Asia from date palms and coconut palms.
There's over 2,500 species of palm trees exist today. The needle palm is so hardy it can be grown in Alaska.
Isn't that amazing?
Unbelievable. I'm going to have
Seeing
to
palm
check
trees
that out.
in Alaska, that would be pretty cool.
Yes, it would.
And then the largest seed of any plant in the world is made by a palm tree. The seeds of the Coco de Mer palm tree are huge. They can weigh over 60 pounds and be up to 20 inches in diameter. Now, we're talking about seeds, people.
That's right. And be careful standing under the coconut tree. You know, more people
Big
die
time.
from falling coconuts
Big time.
than alligator bites and shark bites.
Isn't
and
that amazing?
Many other things.
All right. It looks like we have our second commercial already coming upon us. So when we come back from that last break, we're going to talk about this day in history real quick. That'll take maybe 3 minutes. And then we're going to get right into the IRA Act of 2022. Stand by. You're listening to the Quality of Life Radio Show, and we will be right back.
Insurance Group. We are a local independent insurance agency located right here on the Treasure Coast. I've been a resident here for 34 years and have helped thousands of clients with their insurance planning needs. We specialize in life, health, and Medicare insurance planning. Don't travel the road alone. Let us be your guide. We are the Owen Insurance Group. Contact us today at 772-210-1020 or visit our website at oweninsurancegroup.net.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jensen Beach, Hope Sound, Martin County's Heritage Station.
Hello, sexy people. Welcome back to the Quality of Life radio show. We have some shout-outs to give to people who are watching and listening in. So, Valerie, thank you for always tuning in and listening to the world-famous Quality of Life radio show. She was listening and had questions about Medicare, so she came to our office, and Kathy in our office helped her out and took good care of Valerie. So, thank you so much, and thanks to all of you who are listening and watching, who have called our office and worked with us for your, whether it's health insurance, Medicare planning, or whatever it might be. We're honored to have had your service. Also, our guest has left his communication device behind at home, and I probably don't blame him for that. I wish I could do that as well. But I know that there are some shout-outs. I know that Amy is watching, so thank you, Amy. And then, Bob, who do you want to give a shout-out to?
Well, there's a fellow on Cape Cod that looks an awful lot like me. He's only about half my size. He's the original Bob Thornton. And I was just informed, thanks to Iggy, that Amy was able to contact him knowing her husband's a knucklehead and left his phone at home, that my dad is listening. So, Dad, I love you.
Hey, Dad, thank you so much for watching us, and hope that you are enjoying the show.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
And I've got one. Carmen Anderson, if you're listening out
Carmen,
there.
yes.
Final expense extraordinaire. We want to give a shout-out to you. Thank you for all you do and your love and concern for our clients as well.
Yes, indeed. All right. We're going to go to this day in history real quick. General William Hall surrendered in 1812, by the way. 1812, General Hall surrenders Fort Detroit in his army to the British without a fight. And
sheesh, I wouldn't want to be him.
he eventually got court-martialed.
Good
Whatever.
for him.
But then another general who happened to be Hamilton, who was one of the presidents of the United States, reclaimed that fort a year later. So
Good.
Yeah.
And Andrew Jackson in the Battle of New Orleans, 1812.
Absolutely.
Laid out quite a few
some
British.
great presidents.
They were slaughtered.
Great soldiers.
In 1896, gold was discovered in the Yukon by George Carmack while salmon fishing.
What great fun, salmon fishing. You're going to be doing some of that soon, Tom.
I will be next Friday.
Yeah, nice, very nice. 1945, Lieutenant General Jonathan Wainwright, who was captured by the Japanese in the Philippines, is freed by Russian forces from a POW camp in Manchuria, China.
1954, Sports Illustrated magazine debuts.
In 1987, Northwest Flight 255, which happened to be a DC-9, crashed during takeoff. Pilot error, unfortunately, killing 156 people. One sole survivor, a 4-year-old, survived that crash.
And this day in history, in 1977, Elvis Presley dies. In 1948, Babe Ruth dies. And in 2018, soul singer Aretha Franklin died.
What is it with August 16th?
I don't know.
Of dying. I'm not going to be around on August 16th.
I'm not going to.
At least
die
don't
on
be a
August
celebrity.
Far from it. All right, and then famous birthday, happy birthday to Steve Carell, who is 60 years of age. So, we got 15 minutes to talk about Smack. No, we're going to talk about IRA. IRA, I love IRA. And this was really important legislation that was passed by both the Senate and the House of Representatives. IRA is the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. And Tom and I have been on the show many times talking about Part D and the expenses of Part D and how horrific it is for most people who can't afford Part D. That is probably the single most important component two-year Medicare. It is the Part D prescription drug plans, and it is really gotten out of control. But the United States House of Representatives passed a historic budget bill on August 12th that would help millions of Medicare enrollees better afford their life-sustaining medications and help millions more for those who are under 65 with their health insurance, i.e. the ACA or Affordable Care Act, health insurance premiums because those the ARPA Act sunsets this year for those premiums. So now this new IRA Act will extend that help, the subsidies, for another 3 years. But the bill was passed by the U.S. Senate on August 7th by a vote of 51-50, with Vice President Kamala Harris breaking the tie. Tom, take the next one.
Sure. The measure actually, for the very first time, and I cannot believe it's the very first time, but it actually authorizes Medicare to be able to negotiate the prices of some of the high-cost prescription drugs with pharmaceutical companies, and actually put an annual $2,000 limit on how much Part D prescription drug members would have to pay out of pocket for their medications beginning in 2025. And they levy tax penalties on the drug makers that increase the prices of their products more than the rate of inflation. And the bill would also cap the cost of Medicare-covered insulin at $35 a month and eliminate out-of-pocket costs for most vaccines under Medicare beginning in January of 2023.
Yeah, so good news and the bad news, right? The good news is that this has been implemented, it's been passed. The bad news is we got to wait till 2025 for that to happen, except for the insulin and the vaccines that will begin January 2023.
The pharmaceutical companies get to gouge Medicare recipients for several more years. That's criminal, if I may say.
It's horrific.
Legally criminal.
But they say it's going to cover, covers the R&D, and it also covers millions of dollars in profits.
And we're not against that. But
come on.
Yeah.
Let's have a level playing field.
Sell it to other countries and send it back, and it's cheaper. Something's wrong with that.
Yeah, no question. So the legislation would save Medicare. So, we've talked before about Medicare going defunct and running out of money in less than 10 years, maybe 7 years. So what this legislation is going to do is save Medicare hundreds of billions of dollars over 10 years, with the majority of the savings coming as a result of the PDP price negotiations and the rebates that would encourage pharmaceutical companies to keep price increases to no more than the rate of inflation. So that means beneficiaries would be able to get the same medications they do now, but some of those drugs would cost them and Medicare exponentially less.
Absolutely. The Act also includes a 3-year extension of the expanded subsidies and other financial enhancements first included in the American Rescue Plan that help bring down the cost of ACA, Affordable Care Act health insurance plans. These subsidies are particularly important to those ages 50 to 64 who pay up to 3 times more for their insurance.
That's good news. I mean,
that
3
is.
years to extend the subsidies. I think that's, especially with what's going on in today and the pandemic and so forth, I think this is important. And again, not to get on a political bandwagon here, because this is not what this show is all about. That would be another show. But raising some of the taxes on the very wealthy and the rich corporations who don't even pay taxes. I think it's important that we all pay a fair share of tax. I mean, that's important. To not pay any tax because you're finding loopholes to get around it, I think is unconscionable, but that is my personal opinion. That is certainly not a political statement, but I think
it's the golden rule, Gary, right?
I'm just saying. I mean,
he who has the gold makes the rules.
And I think some people pay too much tax as well.
Correct.
So there's got to be a balance in a tax code, man, I'm telling you. But anyway, the Health and Human Service Secretary would authorize to begin negotiating the prices of 10 high-cost drugs beginning next year. And then those negotiated prices would go into effect in 2026 for Medicare Part D medications and 2028 for drugs covered under Medicare Part B. So it sucks that It got approved and passed, but now we got to wait for several years.
So
to
waiting
see the results.
6 to 8 months for an impact Windows doesn't sound very bad anymore, does it?
Puts it in perspective.
It's like, yeah, it puts it all in
As
perspective.
opposed to 6 years for your break.
The lightning speed of government negotiations. Holy crap.
I could never be a politician. God bless those who are, but that would certainly be frustrating for me.
Yes.
Once I realized that you're not allowed to throat punch, I knew I couldn't be a politician.
That's
Well, you can, but you're usually just once.
That's awesome. We had real quick to just kind of talk about some of the things that happened last week at our office. We had a client come in who heard us on the radio show and scheduled an appointment with one of our staff members. And at 65, they went into a certain plan that they didn't realize what they were getting involved in. So they went with this captive carrier for a Medicare Advantage plan, and he absolutely hated it. You know, everyone has their own reasonings. So he really didn't realize that he was in such a plan, and of course, you know, they have pre-existing conditions. So technically, you know, if that person wanted to go to a Medicare supplement plan, which is what he wanted to do, then they would have to pass underwriting questions. But, you know, Tom and I and our staff, you know, we're well versed on Medicare, and we apply ourselves and our knowledge, and we provide great counsel, and I believe we're great guides in the Medicare arena. And because there is a little thing that we know that we can help consumers to transition from an MAPD plan to a supplement plan without underwriting in the first year of turning 65 is called a trial right period. So we were able to get that client off of the plan that he absolutely hated and despised and got him into a Medicare supplement plan. And not to saying that everyone despises their MAPD plan, but again, if you're not on the right plan, you cannot go to a captive agent or a career agent or a captive carrier and expect to get educated about all the choices you have. That's why it's important that you work with a independent. Tom and I, we repeat this quite frequently. Independent insurance agency, independent insurance agent who has your best interest at heart, who can go to work for you, do the heavy lifting, and find you the plan that will be that would fit your specific needs. That's what we do. That's what we're proud of. That's what you can expect from us. Transparency and professionalism. And yes, we have fun at OIG as well.
Yes, we do. And you can call us at 772-210-1020.
So, Tom, what happened did you have a specific case last week that you'd like to share that would help some of our listening audience?
Well, actually, I did, but it didn't relate to Medicare, if that's okay.
No, it doesn't matter, whatever.
So I have a client who has two daughters who are traveling around Europe, and so they had some type of insurance, for travel insurance, but they had to have an underlying insurance plan. So it was so exciting. They're under 65, so I was able to talk to them while they're in France and get them on a plan. They just needed it till next March, where they'll be coming back and going back to work and having insurance. So that's called a short-term medical plan. So I was able to get that done, and it was kind of cool. The technology can be very cool when it works. You know, they are in France. I'm emailing them the quotes, and they're pushing buttons, and they're putting in payment arrangements, and they're pushing agreements. And so we're able to get them. So if you need short-term medical, we talk a lot about Medicare. So if you're between 60 and 65 or 62 and 65 and you're waiting for a certain amount of time, and you don't have insurance, we can get some short-term coverage, a bridge to Medicare, so to speak, and help. So it was kind of cool knowing that I was enrolling people all the way across the world. That's in Europe, anyway. Yeah.
So what is it? We're kind of like superheroes, right? I mean, during the day,
they could not thank me
agents.
enough. They said you took a load off. We kept meaning to do it. We had to do it. We kept getting. I mean. They thanked me probably 15 times, and it was so gratifying to help.
I think people think that we only do Medicare and ACA or Obamacare individual health insurance plans, but we do so much more
We do.
I wonder if Bob knows what else we do. Should we?
All I know is anyone that talks to me about insurance, I say go see Gary and the group. So I don't. It's kind of like how to put those windows in. I don't need to know as long as I know I got somebody that knows.
That's right. That's right.
And that'd be Mike O'Donnell.
And so you're not doing the measuring either, right?
I'm not doing the measure.
We heard the stories.
No, my job is if there's a cat on a fish wagon and you need him talked off, I'm your man.
I like that analogy.
That's a good one.
That's very good. Well, so yes, I mean we do a lot of other insurance. What we don't do is property and casualty and commercial. So we don't insure your cars, your boats, your home, your buildings, and so forth. Anything that has to do with your life and your health, that's what we do. We cover the most important part, which is your quality of life and your quality of health. Two important dates that I want everyone to be aware of coming up, and it's coming up quickly because I mean we're already in mid-August. So October 15th through December 7th is the annual enrollment period, the AEP, commonly known as Medicare Open Enrollment Period to most Medicare beneficiaries, but it's the AEP. That's the time where you must do a review of your current Medicare Advantage plan, not supplement, Medicare Advantage plan, and or your Part D plan. The formulary changes, the networks change, the doctors change, things change on these plans. Each year you get an ANOC in the mail. You probably throw it away because you have no idea what it says. You don't understand it. The ANOC is your annual notice of change. But all you got to do simply is call Owen Insurance Group at 772-210-1020, and we'll guide you. We'll let you know whether or not it'd be prudent for you to stay on the plan that you have, if that still works for you, or because the formularies change in the drug plan, the tier levels change, and so forth. We will let you know, so we can do the heavy lifting for you. Secondly, and by the way, don't wait until December 7th to call us, the last day. It probably would be against what we can do to help. So, but anyway, what happens in October 15th through December 7th will take effect and go effective January 1 of 2023. And then if you're under 65 on an individual health plan, whether it's ACA, that happens. The open enrollment happens there from November 1st through December 15th, and then January 1st it will take effect. There are new plans that keep coming out every year, so if you need a review on your health insurance plan or you don't have a health insurance plan, give Owen Insurance Group a call at 772-210-1020. Bob, one more time, how do they get a hold of the rock stars at O'Donnell Impact Windows and Doors?
Very easy, 772-408-0200. And there's prompts there. It'll be my voice. Press 1, you'll get sales. 2, you get service. I'm making it up now, so just listen to it. Or look us up online, o'donnellstormprotection.com, or come by one of the two showrooms, 1740 Northwest Federal Highway or 6400 Southeast Federal Highway.
And your location in South Stewart is just south of Salerno Road. Where's it, Cove Road?
It's south of Cove
South
Road,
of Cove Road,
right across from Duffy's Family
yes,
Restaurant.
There you go.
And
you got it. All right. So give us a call. Again, Tom, what's the best number to call?
772-210-1020.
Or 772-210-1020, and you'll get the dynamic stars and the superstars at Owen Insurance Group to be your guide. So we appreciate you being on the call, in listening to us this morning on the show. We thank our guests for being in this morning. Next week, we're going to have Dana Foreman on the show, Notarized with Care, and Tom and I are going to continue espousing what we know about your quality of life and how to protect your quality of life and health. Thanks for joining us. Please share us with your friends, your family, your neighbors. And remember, stay safe, keep healthy, be happy, and enjoy your quality of life.